Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're tuning in, you are probably a curious learner looking for a shortcut to being well-informed, and today we've got a massive one for you. We are unpacking an incredibly detailed, honest analysis of Shopify's pros and cons.
Yeah, we really want to figure out if the world's most famous e-commerce engine is actually right for your specific project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because during Black Friday last year, a single website engine processed $11.5 billion in sales over one single weekend.
Which is just, staggering.
Right. And it didn't crash once. We are talking about a system handling millions of simultaneous checkouts globally, maintaining a 99.99% uptime during literally the most high-stakes retail event of the year.
Right.
But then, this enterprise-grade behemoth is actively marketed to beginners as this simple $29 a month starter kit.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that massive contradiction sitting right at the center of our source material today. You have an infrastructure capable of supporting multinational corporations, right? And it is the exact same underlying architecture powering, the person down the street who just decided to sell homemade candles out of their garage.
It honestly feels like an impossible paradox. Like, are you buying a massive enterprise engine, or are you buying a starter kit?
Exactly.
So today, our mission is to strip away all that marketing gloss to answer that for you. Because if you're trying to figure out if Shopify is the right tool for you, well, you need to know what that $29 actually buys.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to look at the true costs, the hidden technical walls you might hit, and ultimately identify the specific types of businesses that should actually run far, far away from this platform.
Yeah, because to really grasp how Shopify convinced over 5.6 million merchants globally to trust them with their livelihoods, we first have to look at what the platform actively removes from an entrepreneur's to-do list.
Right.
The technical barrier to entry in e-commerce used to be just staggering.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the out-of-the-box allure here is incredibly strong.
Oh, yeah.
Our source points out that choosing Shopify over self-hosted platform like WooCommerce is essentially like moving into a fully furnished, high-security luxury condo instead of, buying a vacant plot of land where you have to pour your own concrete, hire a security guard, and install your own plumbing.
That is a perfect analogy, because with a self-hosted option, you are entirely responsible for that plumbing. You have to rent the server space. You have to configure the back-end scripting languages like PHP and set up your MySQL databases to just store your product info.
Sounds like a nightmare for anyone who isn't a developer.
It is, and you have to manually buy and install SSL certificates so your customers' credit card data is actually encrypted when they type it in. Plus, you've set up a global content delivery network, a CDN.
Which is what distributes your images across servers worldwide, right? So your site loads quickly, whether a buyer is in Tokyo or Toronto.
Exactly. And the most terrifying part for a non-IT professional, you have to ensure you are PCI compliant.
Wait, remind me what that is again.
That's the strict, legally binding security standard for handling credit card data. If you mess that up on your own server, the liabilities are massive.
Okay, wow. So exactly how does Shopify change that dynamic?
Well, in your luxury condo scenario, Shopify acts as the invisible building management. They handle the hosting, the global CDN, the SSL certificates, the daily server backups, and all the PCI compliance.
Wow.
It happens entirely behind the scenes. You literally just move your furniture in your products and you focus on selling. The technical risk is shifted entirely off your shoulders and onto theirs.
And it's not just selling on that one website either. The multi-channel selling capabilities natively built into this platform are what allow a merchant to punch way above their weight class.
Yeah, that's a huge point.
Like, you can manage sales on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Google Shopping, Amazon, and eBay, all from one single dashboard.
Right. And the unified inventory database is the mechanism making that possible. The source actually provides a brilliant real-world case study of a brick-and-mortar clothing store with 3 physical locations.
Oh, right.
They wanted to start selling online, but managing inventory across 4 different nodes is usually a logistical nightmare.
Because, if a guy walks into physical store location number 2 and buys the last medium blue sweater, your website needs to instantly know that sweater is no longer available to someone browsing on their phone.
Exactly. If that database doesn't sync perfectly in real time, you end up double selling items you don't actually have in stock.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, you have to email the customer, cancel the order, issue a refund, and you basically permanently damage that brand relationship. But this store utilized Shopify POS Pro, their point-of-sale hardware for physical registers.
Ah,
Because it all feeds into the exact same centralized database as the website, the inventory synced across all three physical stores and the online store instantaneously.
that is
Yeah, it even allowed them to natively offer buy online, pick up in-store functionality because the system always knows exactly what sits on which specific shelf.
it just eliminates the friction of managing multiple systems. And, speaking of eliminating friction, the checkout experience is really the crown jewel here.
Oh, definitely.
The source highlights that Shop Pay, which is Shopify's accelerated one-tap checkout, has a 1.72 times higher conversion rate compared to a standard internet checkout.
And that 1.72 times conversion rate is the ultimate so what for a business owner.
Right.
In e-commerce, friction is the enemy of revenue. Friction is a customer lying in bed, adding a product to their cart, and then realizing they have to get up, find their wallet, type in a 16-digit credit card number.
Oof, typing the billing address on a phone screen?
Exactly. Every extra second of that process means a higher chance they just close the tab.
So how does Shop Pay actually bypass all of that technically?
Well, it uses a secure vaulting system across the entire Shopify network. If you buy a pair of shoes from Store A and opt into Shop Pay, your encrypted token is saved.
Okay.
6 months later, you visit Store B, which you've never been to before, but it happens to run on Shopify. Store B recognizes your device or email, sends a quick 6-digit text message to your phone to verify it's you, and then boom, you tap once and the sale is done.
That's incredibly smooth. But that incredible 1.72 conversion rate we just praised, Shopify knows exactly how valuable that network effect is to your bottom line.
Yeah, they do.
And that leverage is exactly why they can afford to start nickel and diming you the moment you need basic features, which, frankly, shatters the illusion of that $29 price tag.
Right. The escalating costs are, without question, the most frequent criticism in the analysis.
So let's look at the true cost breakdown. The sticker price on the website says $29 a month for the basic plan. That sounds like an absolute steal for enterprise-grade hosting.
It really does.
But the source explicitly notes that a realistic tech stack for a small business quickly pushes that monthly bill to somewhere between $60 and $150.
Minimum.
Right. And if you want your store to look remotely custom, you're buying a premium theme, which is another $180 to $400 upfront.
Yeah, it adds up fast.
Wait, I have to stop here. I'm already paying a monthly lease for the core platform. If I want basic e-commerce features, like letting my customers leave a product review or creating a wish list or offering a basic loyalty program, I have to go to a third-party app developer and pay them $10 to $50 a month for each individual feature.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is like buying a car and finding out the windshield wipers require a separate monthly subscription. Why aren't these basic tools just built into the core engine?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we can understand the architectural philosophy behind that. Shopify made a very deliberate engineering choice. They decided to build an incredibly robust, lightning-fast, highly secure core engine to handle the transactions, but they intentionally kept that core incredibly lightweight.
Interesting.
They use APIs, application programming interfaces, to allow outside developers to plug their own software into the Shopify core.
So they outsource the heavy lifting of extra features to prevent their own code from getting bloated.
Precisely that. It's an economy of scale. If Shopify's internal team tried to build and maintain the world's best email marketing tool and the best review platform and the best subscription management software all natively within their own code base,
The platform will probably become sluggish, right?
extremely sluggish, prone to bugs, and far more expensive than $29 a month. By relying on an app ecosystem, they force specialized developers to compete to make the best possible windshield wipers.
Ah, right.
The downside, of course, is app dependency for the merchant, and those micro-subscriptions stack up really fast.
And then the coal road really starts taking a cut when we look at transaction fees.
Yeah.
On the basic plan, using Shopify payments, you are paying 2.9% plus 30 cents on every single transaction, which, to be fair, is relatively standard for the payment processing industry.
It is. It's entirely comparable to what you would pay using Stripe or PayPal on a self-hosted site.
Sure, but here is the catch. If you decide you don't want to use Shopify payments, maybe you have a highly negotiated legacy rate with a different payment gateway, or you're operating in a country where you need a specific local processor, Shopify actively punishes you.
They really do.
They tack on an additional surcharge of 0.5% to 2% on top of whatever your external gateway is already charging you.
It is a heavy financial penalty, and it's obviously designed to incentivize merchants to stay within their proprietary financial ecosystem.
Yeah.
If your store is doing $50,000 a month in revenue on the basic plan, that processing fee alone is roughly $1,400 to $1,700 a month.
Which is a massive chunk of margin.
It is. But the source does provide a mathematical strategy for mitigating this, advising merchants to monitor their break-even points.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, upgrading to the Shopify Grow plan costs $79 a month, but it drops your internal transaction fee from 2.9% down to 2.7%.
Ah, I see.
If you run the math, that upgrade makes strict financial sense once your sales volume hits about $25,000 a month. At that volume, the 0.2% fee savings completely outpace the $50 increase in your monthly subscription.
So you are paying a massive premium between the apps, the themes, the transaction fees, and the plan upgrades. Which begs a huge question. For all that money, do you at least get total creative control over how your store looks and functions?
Well, that is where merchants inevitably hit what developers call the customization ceiling.
Yeah, the source delivered some pretty sobering news here. Shopify uses an architecture called Online Store 2.0. It's great if you just want to drag and drop basic blocks of content around your homepage.
Right?
But the moment you want to make a deep structural change, say you want a highly customized, non-standard product page layout, or a unique checkout flow to gather specific customer data, you hit a brick wall.
Yeah, and to bypass that wall, you cannot simply use standard web development languages like HTML or raw PHP. You have to learn Shopify's proprietary coding language, which is called Liquid.
Wait, why do they force you to use their own made-up language?
Liquid acts as a secure bridge between Shopify's protected databases and the code that displays your website. Because you are sharing server space with thousands of other luxury condos, Shopify cannot allow you to write raw backend code.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, if you made a mistake in PHP, you could theoretically crash the entire shared server. Liquid prevents that, but it means a general web developer might struggle with it. And specialized Shopify developers generally charge $50 to $150 an hour to make those structural tweaks.
Man, here's where it gets really interesting, though. The source points out a glaring weakness that most people don't consider until it's too late.
Let me guess, blogging.
Yes, Shopify is an absolute nightmare for blogging and content marketing.
Its content management system is notoriously rudimentary.
Like, there are no real categories. You are forced to just use basic tags. There are no advanced content blocks for formatting. The SEO fields for articles are rigid and don't allow for custom taxonomy.
Right.
Which is essentially how you structure and organize your content, so Google's search algorithms can properly understand and rank it. Compared to a platform built for content, it feels ancient.
And this creates a structural business problem for specific types of merchants. The analysis breaks down a case study of a wellness brand. For this brand, long-form blog content in-depth articles about health routines, scientific ingredient sourcing, and lifestyle advice drove 60% of their total website traffic.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah, content was their primary engine for acquiring customers.
But because they were forced to use Shopify's blogging engine, they hit those SEO limits hard. They had rigid URL structures they couldn't optimize, no proper breadcrumbs for Google to crawl. And they were bleeding $200 a month just on third-party apps trying to band-aid the blog to make it function like a modern site.
Yeah, so rather than abandoning Shopify entirely, they executed a brilliant hybrid approach, often referred to as headless commerce.
Headless commerce, okay.
They recognized they needed the world's best content engine, which is WordPress, and the world's best checkout engine, Shopify. So they migrated their front-end website to WordPress to regain absolute control over their SEO and custom taxonomy.
But wait, how do people actually buy the wellness products if the site is on WordPress?
They integrated the Shopify buy button directly into the WordPress blog post.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, when a reader finishes an SEO-optimized article and clicks Add to Cart, the actual transaction is securely processed through Shopify's backend infrastructure. They kept the incredible 1.72 times conversion rate of ShopPay, but regained total architectural control of their content. It is a fantastic workaround for content-heavy brands.
It's clever, yeah, but it also highlights a scary reality. That brand had to completely rebuild their front end on a different platform. So if you hit those customization walls, or you just get sick of paying hundreds of dollars in monthly app fees for windshield wipers, can you simply pack up your digital storefront and move it somewhere else?
The short answer is no. This is the stark reality of vendor lock-in.
The source is crystal clear about what you can and cannot take with you if you leave. You can export a basic CSV spreadsheet of your products, your SKUs, which are just your unique product codes, and your customer email list.
Right, the bare minimum.
But your theme,
Yeah.
the expensive design you paid for, your app configurations, your automated email workflows, your custom meta fields, which are those specialized data tags you create for unique product info, like specific care instructions for a shirt. Those are permanently stuck inside Shopify.
They do not translate to other platforms at all. Deciding to migrate away means you are fundamentally rebuilding 60 to 80% of your store from absolute scratch.
Let me ask you this then. Is this vendor lock-in a deliberate, malicious corporate trap to hold merchants hostage? Or is it just the technical reality of choosing to use a closed ecosystem?
This raises an important question about data sovereignty in cloud computing.
Yeah.
It isn't a malicious trap, honestly. It is the natural, inevitable consequence of the luxury condo model we discussed earlier. When you rely on Shopify's proprietary servers, their proprietary liquid code, and their proprietary third-party app APIs to make your store function, your store becomes organically fused to their infrastructure.
I see.
You are trading your data portability for their out-of-the-box convenience.
Which is exactly why the source points out that for about 20% of businesses, that trade-off is absolutely not worth it. They outline specific alternatives for people who should explicitly run away from Shopify.
Because recognizing who the platform fails is just as valuable as knowing who it serves well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, if you are a budget-conscious microstore, let's say you have under 100 simple products, you make a few sales a week, and you just want a clean, functional site without paying for a dozen separate apps. The source suggests Wix Core. It's $29 a month, but it has drastically more built-in features at that base price, like basic bookings and loyalty programs, without needing an expensive app store to function.
And on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, we have B2B, business-to-business wholesale. If your primary model is selling bulk orders to other businesses, Shopify's standard plans are structurally incapable of handling your needs.
Why is B2B so difficult for standard e-commerce software?
Because B2B cart logic is wildly complex. You aren't just selling one t-shirt to a consumer, you are selling 500 t-shirts to a retailer.
Right, that makes sense.
That requires complex tiered pricing based on which specific user is logged in. It requires tax exemptions at checkout. It requires net 30 payment terms, meaning the buyer gets the goods now but has 30 days to pay the invoice.
That's a lot of variables.
Yeah, standard Shopify cards simply aren't coded to handle different price lists for different logged-in users without heavy, expensive modifications.
In fact, to get native B2B functionality on Shopify, you are forced to upgrade to Shopify Plus, which costs an eye-watering $2,300 a month.
Which is an astronomical leap for a mid-size wholesaler.
Absolutely.
For those specific merchants, the source strongly recommends a platform like BigCommerce. It actually includes native B2B features like customer-specific pricing and bulk ordering on its standard plans starting at just $39 a month.
So what does this all mean? We've navigated the massive scale, the out-of-the-box speed, the multi-channel magic, the hidden app fees, the rigid blogging limits, and the realities of vendor lock-in.
It's a lot to process.
It is. But to distill this entire deep dive into one golden nugget for you, Shopify is purpose-built for merchants who want to focus entirely on selling and who actively do not want to manage technology.
Yeah, if you value speed to market, if you demand 99.99% reliability during traffic spikes, and if you want to seamlessly push your products across social media and physical retail, well, Shopify's ecosystem remains unparalleled.
Right.
You are paying a heavy premium in apps and fees, but you are buying absolute peace of mind regarding your infrastructure.
And if that sounds exactly like what your project needs, the source notes that Shopify offers an incredibly low-risk way to test the waters yourself. They currently offer a 3-day free trial, followed by paying just $1 a month for your first 3 months.
That's a great deal.
It really is. It gives you 90 days to verify everything we've talked about today for exactly $3.
It's more than enough time to see if the condo fits your furniture. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, looking at the macro landscape of the internet.
Let's hear it.
So we established that Shopify powers nearly 6 million stores.
Right.
The vast majority of those stores rely on similar optimized themes. They utilize the exact same high-converting shop pay checkout flows. They install the exact same popular apps for reviews, pop-ups, and loyalty programs. As platform standardization makes it faster and easier than ever to launch a highly functional store, are we moving toward a future where every independent e-commerce brand feels exactly the same? How will tomorrow's brands genuinely differentiate themselves when their digital storefronts are structurally, mechanically, and visually identical to their competitors?
Wow. When the luxury condo building has 6 million identical units, how do you make your door stand out?
Exactly.
That is a fascinating question to chew on. Well, thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and we will catch you next time.